so I've been grinding for a while. And now, I finally got enough resources for a brand new build, which is Wand and Spear that I'm about to share with you guys today. I honestly didn't quite enjoy the playstyle as much as Sword and Shield with Spear, but I thought that since I already invested in it, then I might as well share it with everyone, since some people asked me to do it. The one thing I do like about Wand and Spear though, is that I would have access to near perma uptime on my shields, meaning I can do tier 2 dungeons easily without needing over 10,000 health. I got Laquira's Tome mostly because it got critical chance and buff duration trait, and then I pair that with Heroic Polearm for dexterity. Severing Skull is also pretty good, but I don't use it since I'm not going for 50 strength for the heavy attack chance. And as usual, I got dexterity rune synergies on both of my weapons so that I can reach 70 dexterity easier. I got Shadow Harvester Mask mostly for the cooldown reduction, as well as Supreme Devotion Cape just because it's there. I'm also using Ascended Guardian Armor this time for the set effect, and plus it gives me more health on top of having buff duration trait. To pair with that, I also use Ascended Guardian Gloves for the mana cost reduction as well. Since I do find myself running out of mana when fighting for a long duration, it also got attack speed trait, so make sure to grab that, as well as the buff duration one on the armor. Lastly, for armor stuff, I got Divine Justicar pants and shoes since they give a lot of dexterity, wisdom, as well as critical chance. Divine Justicar shoes is also pretty underrated in my opinion, since it gives the most wisdom out of all armors, which would help you reach 50 wisdom easier for the cooldown reduction. Templar Choker is pretty good, but I think once you get all the mana recovery traits on your other pieces, then I think Clasp of the Overlord would be a better option. I also got Wisdom Rune Synergy on it, so that I can get just enough wisdom for the 5% cooldown reduction. I picked the Attack Speed Rune Synergy instead of bonus damage for Primal King Bracers, because even though a lot of my damage are multi-hits, I actually benefit from attack speed more, so that I can use all my skills before my buffs expire. And since I get 2 shields with voidlance, I chose both cooldown reduction rune synergies for my rings instead of the health ones. I needed the Spectral Skulls belt so that I can reach 60 dexterity for that huge crit bonus, and I also picked movement speed over damage reduction for rune synergy, since I kinda prefer being able to kite mobs easier. In general, just try to reach around 1000 crit chance, get lots of buff duration, as well as 10,000 health, and you should do fine in all dungeons. So for specializations, I didn't pick any of the flame effect skills this time because I prefer the burst bonuses. Cyclonic Fury is actually way worse than Phoenix Barrage, but I pick it anyway since Phoenix Barrage costs me 10 specialization points, and I also need Cyclonic to stack burst debuff. Gale Rush also stacks 1 burst debuff, but Brutal Fury, however, doesn't stack any, which is why you kinda rely on the other 3 skills to stack it. And for Brutal Fury, you absolutely have to make sure that you use it on a target with 5 burst stacks, so that you can reuse it 2 more times. And as for wand skills, I got 2 DPS skills, which are Ray of Disaster and Touch of Despair. I mostly use Touch of Despair so that I can heal with my Vampiric Contract passive, since I don't really plan to use any other healing skills except Fountain of Life. Using Fountain of Life to proc the Selfless Soul passive is pretty important as well, since your Ray of Disaster damage scales with Skill Heal. And the reason why Perception and buff duration traits are so important is that you have a ton of self-buff skills, which are Selfless Soul, Enchanting Time, Fighting Spirit, Invincible Wall, Imposing Form, Fatal Precision, Sentinel Bastion, Cyclonic Fury Crit Specialization, and finally Gale Rush. With that being said, if you don't know where to start with, this is the usual starter combo that I use for maximum damage. First I open with Touch of Despair, then Fountain of Life for Selfless Soul passive, into Enchanting Time, Fighting Spirit, Gale Rush, Javelin Throw for skill damage resistant to buff, into Ray of Disaster, Cyclonic Fury, Touch of Despair again, Culling Arc into Brutal Fury, and then Culling Arc once again. Overall, you just gotta make sure that you have at least 1 shield skill off cooldown in case of emergency, and also make sure that your target has 5 stacks of burst debuff before using Culling Arc or Brutal Fury.